Hi, we're Maren and Angela of Homeschool Unrefined. Over the past 25 years, we've been friends, teachers, homeschool parents, and podcasters together. With our master's degrees and 20 years combined homeschooling, we're here to rethink homeschooling, learning, and education with an inclusive and authentic lens.
At Homeschool Unrefined, we prioritize things like giving yourself credit, building strong connections, respectful parenting, interest-led playing and learning differences, mental health, self-care, and listening to and elevating LGBTQ+ and BIPOC voices.
We are here to encourage and support you, whether you're a new homeschooler, a veteran, you love curriculum, you're an unschooler, whether all your kids are at home or all your kids are at school or somewhere in between. Wherever you are on your journey, we are the voice in your head telling you you're doing great, and so are your kids.
This is episode 202. You don't need our permission, but we are going to talk about 5 things we should always allow ourselves to do. And then we are going to end like we always do with our LTWs, Loving This Week. And before we get started, we wanted to let you know, if you are listening to this the day it comes out on Monday, then tomorrow, December 6th, we are going to be having our class in Patreon that's going to be all about how to take a winter break. And that is going to be at 1 o'clock Central. We'd love to have you there. It's going to be informal. There's going to be 30 minutes of us talking live, and then there's going to be 15 minutes of Q&A. So if you'd like to join us, you can go to our Patreon links in the show notes and get set up there.
Yes. All of my kids' favorite classes they've taken have been from OutSchool, which is one of the reasons we're thrilled to have them as a sponsor. We know that kids who love to learn don't just prepare for the future, they create it. That's why OutSchool has reimagined online learning to empower kids and teens to expand their creativity, wonder, and knowledge. Empathetic, passionate teachers encourage learners ages 3 to 18 to explore their interests, connect with diverse peers from around the world, and take an active role in leading their learning. OutSchool has created a world filled with endless possibilities for every schooling journey. Explore over 140,000 fun and flexible live online classes to find the right fit for your family and join us as we set learning free. Sign up today at outschooler.me/homeschoolunrefined and get up to $20 off your first class when you enroll with the code UNREFINED.
We love when companies try to teach subjects in new and innovative ways, and that's why we're so excited to introduce you to Night Zookeeper. Is your child a reluctant writer? Do they struggle with reading? If your answer to either of these questions is yes, then Night Zookeeper may just be what you're looking for. Night Zookeeper is an online learning program for children ages 6 to 12 years old that uses a gamified and creative approach to help keep kids engaged and focused on developing awesome reading and writing skills, all while having fun at the same time. Some of the features we love include the educational games, the personalized feedback on writing from real tutors, and the super safe community pages where children can work with each other and learn together. If Night Zookeeper sounds like the perfect learning program for your child, you can try it for free by clicking on the link in the show notes. When you register, they'll get a 7-day risk-free trial as well as a huge 50% off an annual subscription. That is a great deal if you ask me.
My family has spent so many hours outside and learning about life. If this sounds like your family, you might like Blossom and Root. Blossom and Root is a nature-focused secular homeschool curriculum focusing on creativity, science, nature, literature, and the arts. Blossom and Root has been gently encouraging and supporting homeschooling families around the globe since 2016. Blossom and Root currently offers curricula for pre-K through 5th grade, with new levels being added in the future. Additionally, a 3-volume inclusive U.S. history curriculum told from a variety of viewpoints is currently in development. As of August 2022, Volume 1 is available for purchase, and Volume 2 is available for pre-sale. All profits from this history curriculum, A River of Voices, will be used to support storytellers and artists from historically excluded communities. You can find samples, scope and sequences, and information about each of their levels online at blossomandroot.com. You can also find them on Instagram at blossomandroot. Blossom and Root has created a special discount for our listeners. Use the code HSUnrefined15 at checkout for 15% off your purchase.
All right. Well, today we are talking about permission and how you don't actually need our permission to do some of the things we're going to talk about, but we think we have 5 different categories of things we think that you should allow yourself the permission to do when you're homeschooling.
Exactly. These are things we want to actually normalize. I think that was like our alternative title. Like, let's normalize these things, make them so that we don't even have to feel like we have to give ourselves permission. It's just something we do. It's normal.
Well, I think like a lot of times the pressures of whatever, the outside world.
Yes.
Also, like the pressures you place on yourself can really like weigh on you as you are thinking about some of these things.
Yes. I do think we as homeschoolers often already feel like we're kind of outside of the norm a little bit, right? We say this a lot on our podcast. Like, we have done something kind of going against grain, homeschooling.
Yeah.
It's different, right? And so sometimes we do feel like, well, we can't go way out there. Let's not go way out there and do something even.
There still has to be some
different
standards.
We have to have standards. And so let's do the standards that, some of the standards that everybody else does too, right? Like, it just feels a little safer. It feels like it's socially acceptable. And so, which is great. I mean, I actually think that's okay to do that sometimes too. But I also want us to utilize the freedom we have in, homeschoolers. We get to make decisions. A lot of times the reason why we, decide to homeschool is so that we can make different choices for our family and we can do things that are healthier and better for our kids and for us.
More personalized.
And yet we sometimes then shrug those choices off because it feels too much at that moment.
Yes, definitely. So we're doing this episode intentionally at the beginning of December because, we're like 3 months into a school year here. Most of us are taking a holiday break coming up or a winter break. And so, we're thinking about some of these things, but we want to make sure, if you listen to this in May or February or October, it still applies.
Yes.
Because again, you don't need our permission, but we're telling you that you can do these things. You should allow yourself the permission to do these things anytime.
Anytime.
Yep.
And it's important to think about them anytime, not just during a holiday or a time off or something.
Right.
It's important to like continue to, this is a living thing.
Right.
Changing.
Okay. So the first thing that we want to give you, or that you should give yourself permission to do, is change. And that can be a lot of different things. You can change how you school. You are allowed to do this. You are allowed to change the big picture things, like going from homeschool to online school. You're allowed to put your kids in online school. Maybe homeschool just isn't working for you right now, or you need a little bit more support or a little bit more guidance. It is okay to do that.
Yep.
It is also okay to switch in the opposite direction. It is okay if you are doing online school, it's not working. It's okay to switch to homeschool. It's okay to also put your kids in school. It's okay to also pull your kids from school.
Yes.
You can do that anytime you feel like it's the right thing to do.
And change what's right for each kid, maybe. I know for me, I really value making my life easier. And my goal has always been, we're all doing the same thing, because when we're all doing the same thing, then I don't have to drive 4 kids to 4 different places or whatever. But realistically, my kids all have different needs. And so we have made changes to, yes, logistically, it's a little bit trickier for us to get to different places, but it is so much better for everyone, for the whole family, when we're all in the place and doing the learning that works best for all of us.
Right.
So we made changes.
Yes. And I think that's pretty common. I would say, like, when your kids are younger, it's easier for you to do things all together or all the same. And then as they get older and their specific styles and needs emerge,
Right.
and desires, like, we want to accommodate that. So that makes sense.
And even within homeschool, maybe you need to switch co-ops. Fine. It's okay to do that. great. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't ever think of change as negative. It's like you're getting closer and closer to the, you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you know more now.
You
You
know
know
more now.
more about your child and what works or doesn't work in this season or forever, whatever. And so it is good. A change is a good thing.
Right. Or maybe you're switching from more of an unschool approach to more direct teaching approach or something like that. Maybe that is just what's right for you right now, or vice versa. You're
Mhm.
going to more unschooling because that's how it's working for you right now. I think that's great. And then also we need to just consider what's the style that fits your child's needs the most.
Mhm.
And this can change over time too as our kids mature,
Mhm.
as their needs change, as their interests change, as they are learning about themselves. And in homeschool, they really do get to know themselves very well. They're able to do that. And when they're able to verbalize that, and it just you when you know more, you do the thing that works best then, right? And so
Right. So what is your kid really into? Like
yes.
what do they do in their free time? What it really excites them? You could just do more of that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
If that's what would make things like come alive for them, you should allow yourself to do that.
Right, right, right. And the style, and when I say style, I don't always even mean, active versus, sitting at a table. It could also just be like your child listens to audiobooks or, reads more audiobooks than I reads.
Mhm.
Great. Like pick up on that.
Yep.
And you can do more of that. Your child does math better on an app
Mhm.
than sitting doing a book. Great.
Mhm.
Awesome. Pick up on that. My child loves to bake. We spent hours in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Still do.
Yeah,
And so I think that's all learning and that can change. Like you can make more time for that now.
for sure. Yep.
Yep.
And maybe you have learned that you need to either get out of the house more
Mhm, mhm.
and go on more adventures. Or
Mm,
maybe you've learned that
definitely.
you've been out of the house too much and you need more time at home. Are allowed to like make your schedule, make your routines
Right.
to fit what works for you. And it's okay to do that mid year or a
Mhm.
month into the school year or whatever. You don't have to
Yes.
like stick with something that's not working.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is you can give yourself permission to quit.
Yes.
Quit a variety of things and in a variety of ways. You can quit permanently something. This is just not for me. It's not happening. Not for my
Mhm.
kids. You can also quit something indefinitely until we're ready.
Yeah. Yep.
Until we're ready to come back. We're quitting.
Mhm. Yep. So I feel like this right now, like we said, it's beginning of December. So I'm sure you're thinking of a break probably. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you might be thinking, yeah, we're taking 2 weeks off, we're taking 3 weeks off, we're taking a month off. You should allow yourself to do that. You could also allow yourself to, not come back till the end of January or
Yep. Yep.
whatever works for your family, however much time you think everyone needs. You are not
Yes.
bound to this outside
Mm.
culture
Mm.
schedule
Yes.
that everyone else is bound to. Maybe
Exactly.
you want to do lots of outdoor activities right now. That's fine. You can take the time to do that and then come back later for some more structure that you might
Yes. Yep. Yep.
if you want that.
And quitting, I think, has a bad rap. It does.
Mhm. Mhm.
It feels like like failing sometimes in some ways, or it's been deemed that way
Yeah, or like
by many
just
people.
never quitting. Never quitting is a thing.
Never
And we
quit.
need to get rid of that.
Right. Right. Well, my kids need to learn persistence and how
Mm.
to, work through something hard, which is true. We get, totally
Yeah.
understand that.
Mhm.
And then also there is these skills in quitting,
Mhm.
like understanding yourself and listening to what you making a plan to quit. Like maybe you don't quit cold turkey. Like right now we're just
Mhm.
dealing with this,
Maybe we finish out the semester of
yes.
piano lessons because
Yep.
we've already committed and paid,
Mhm.
but we know at the end of December we're gonna take a break.
Yep. And okay, I'm just gonna tell you a quick personal story. I won't get too detailed, but like one of my kids just quit a sport and it was really parent led for a long time. Like we were just like so excited for this child to like join anything. And so we
Mm.
kind of coaxed them into it. They got
Yep.
they got
Yep.
excited for a while.
Been
Then,
there. Yep.
yep. And then, mid-semester. So it wasn't even at the end of anything, but it
Yeah.
was just, we could tell it was just not worth the fight anymore. It's just not worth the fight. And this child was communicating so well to us why this wasn't working for them.
Yeah.
And while we tried to stick it out to the end of the semester, it really didn't, like, the cost benefit it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Wow.
worth it for us. And so we made the decision to stop mid-semester. Gasp. I know, but it was the right thing
Yeah.
for this child and for our family, really.
I like when you talked about cost benefit. I mean, I don't love that necessarily terminology, but I like that you're saying, like, what is the cost here for us? This child's unhappiness, our having to drag them out of the house,
Yeah.
our
It was
fighting, our
right.
relationship.
Right. It was causing anxiety
Yeah.
and
Is
it
that worth
wasn't the
it?
kind of anxiety that, like, oh, if I overcome this, it's gonna feel so good. It was more like, if I overcome this, I'm just gonna be bitter at my parents a little bit. And
Yeah.
we're like, no,
Yeah.
this is not worth it. That's actually counterproductive to what we're
sure.
actually trying
For
to
sure.
teach our
Yep.
child. So, yep.
So good job. Okay, our next category, or I don't know, next thing is
Mhm.
protect. Our next word is protect.
Mhm.
Something that you are allowed to do is protect your child's free time
Mm.
and or screen time.
Yeah.
I think coming into winter, we're in winter in North America, right? So like coming into winter is a time I think when we instinctually just need a lot of downtime.
Mm. Yeah.
At least I do. Okay, I
Especially
do.
in in the northern states.
As I'm watching it
But
snow immensely outside right now,
Mhm.
that's all I can think about.
Like, I just wanna hibernate.
I wanna
Yes.
hibernate, and
Yes.
I feel like something we are not good at, and I say we, like the
Mm.
collective we, and I'm talking
Mhm,
about me
mhm,
as well, not
mhm.
good at is protecting my kids' free time and
Yeah.
downtime,
Yeah.
and I think that is so important, and I wish I had done a better job of that when my kids were little. I did get better as they got older,
Oh, yeah.
but I think that downtime where their minds can wander, they can do the thing they're
Mhm.
excited about. They can have a chance to explore new things that they maybe don't know if they're interested in.
Mhm, mhm.
That only
Yeah.
happens with, like, huge blocks of free time,
It's so
and
true.
you are allowed to protect that for your child and not cram in all the different subjects,
Exactly.
because are all those different subjects more important than free time? I don't know, I don't think so.
Right, and are they actually getting learned when you're cramming them in anyway?
Yeah.
Is the learning actually happening?
Mhm.
You're getting things done, t but that does not guarantee any sort of, like,
Mm-mm.
internal long-term learning
You're not
that's
okay,
happening.
I remember an episode we did, like, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I don't
Mhm.
remember. What's about, like, how we don't choose what our kids make
Yes.
meaning out of or learn.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
we can put the information in front of them,
Yep.
but we don't get to decide, like, what stays in their head or what they choose to make meaning from, right? That's, like, something that they're doing or something that happens within them. So, just because you're cramming in 6 subjects or whatever, I'm not saying you're doing that, that's extreme, but whatever, that doesn't mean that they're learning all of that. But you know what?
Exactly.
They are learning when they have free time. They are learning because they're choosing what they're
Yes.
doing. They're excited about it. They're
Yep.
into it. They're motivated by it. We know for sure that they're learning that.
Yep, it's the best kind of learning, and
Yep.
yeah, it's the most internal learning
Right.
and long-term learning, and the only part of that that's tough for parents is that you probably aren't choosing the topic. But
Yeah.
let me tell you something. Let me give you peace of mind here. It's not always about the topic when it comes to learning. The
Mm,
topic is almost irrelevant. It's the
mm,
practice of learning, the habit of thinking
mm,
that is happening
mhm,
during that free time.
mhm,
It's the processing.
mhm,
They
mhm,
are learning how to learn
mhm.
and they are loving it. So they're associating learning positive vibes, positive
For
feelings.
sure.
And
For sure.
so they are going to continue that habit of
Mhm,
learning, of asking questions, of figuring out the answer, all these things. They are going to keep doing that their rest of their lives
mhm.
if they have that time to do it now and they're
Right.
having positive experiences around it.
Yes.
So give yourself all the credit for all the learning you're you and your kids are doing in
Give
their
your
free time.
Give your kids all the credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we briefly touched on it. I want to say protect screen time. And
Mhm.
I know this is controversial, but I'm just going to say, like, I think a lot of screen time is really, really valuable and really important. My kids learn a lot through screen time.
Mhm.
Now, my kids are older, but I have to say, like, my son, for example, watches a lot of YouTube videos that are about, I don't even know the category,
Yeah.
geography.
Yeah.
Think geography and like
Yes.
politics happening within the
Oh,
different like
totally.
countries or whatever.
Yep.
This is what he does for what hours. He does this for hours.
That's
And
amazing.
I love to see it. I'm like, yes, 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 you should do that. I am
Keep doing
not
it.
wanting to squander that at all because he is deep diving into a subject that is interesting to him. And he is learning a lot by
That's
doing
so
those deep dives.
great. I
Right?
have to say, my son is doing the same thing
Really?
about yes.
Oh, okay.
We should talk about that together.
Yeah.
2 of them, because they'd probably love to talk about that, so that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And they can, watch YouTube videos together. I think that's so, so great.
Yeah, I mean, and I do not wanna stop that. I do not wanna put a limit on that and say, "Oh, you need
I
to turn that up."
know.
I know
I
sometimes we
know.
need to, but
Oh,
I know that his excitement and passion for this is so great right now, and
yes.
I am not stopping that.
Totally. I wanna piggyback on that. My oldest is learning all about the history of Iran right now,
Oh, wow.
all on her own.
Mm,
And all of the just the, women's rights and all that stuff, just doing all the research all the time on that, and comes to us and
mm,
tells us all these facts and things, and I'm like, "That's amazing."
that's
Had
amazing.
we limited
Mhm.
that time, it just wouldn't happen. So,
Right, right.
it's just amazing. And then I have one child who's just doing art
Mm,
all the time on
mhm.
their screen, on their iPad. Just
Yeah,
it's art. It's this art app with a pen,
yeah.
like a yeah,
Mhm.
so it's amazing stuff. It's, like, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think, well, why would I, like, squander that that
Mhm. No,
excitement for that thing? So,
no.
alright, number 4 is trust. Trust your gut. Trust your gut on things.
Mhm,
Trust yourself and
mhm.
trust your kids. Say it too.
Yes. Yeah, you are allowed to do that because, like we always say, you yourself and your family the best,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And we know as parents, you have a gut feeling of if a thing is working or not, if we need to do more of something, if we need to do less of something, if we should
mhm.
change something up. Like, where's the excitement for our kids? And you know that. You know that better than any expert
Right.
or, grandparent or like friend who's a teacher. You
Yes.
know that for your kids and your family, you need to trust that.
Yes. And I think there is, like, I think it's great to do a little research if you need to or whatever, do what you need to do, but also don't overdo that. Like, I think about it when, when our kids are sick or something, and then we Google something, and then, suddenly we think they, have a terminal illness or something because of the Google results.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it just brings us to this
Yeah.
very scary place when really our gut instinct is like, you know, I should just sometimes we have to just listen to our gut and be like, "I should just bring my child to the doctor," or
Yeah.
not. What
Right.
It's usually the right thing. Whatever your
Yeah.
gut is about that is probably the right thing. Bring to the
Mhm.
doctor or don't or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think it's the same thing with homeschooling. Like, just trust your gut. What do you see and notice and experience with your kids?
Mhm.
You have so much information that is intangible that nobody
Mm.
else will be able to never know those things, and
Mhm.
only you do.
Yeah,
Trust it.
for sure. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, our last one is say yes. You have permission to say
Mm.
yes. I think a lot of times, us included, talk about
Mhm.
saying no and taking stuff off of our plate. And we also want to tell you that you are allowed to add more things or say yes more often when your kids are asking you to. If
Mm.
that is what you want to do and if that works for you, you are allowed to do that. You're allowed to, um, you know, have a fun adventure one day. You're allowed to have a mental health day. You're allowed to play games together that day. You're allowed to do whatever it is that is going to bring joy to your homeschool. You are allowed to do that.
Yep.
You're allowed to go out for ice cream. You're allowed to get coffee in the morning. Whatever you need to inject a little passion is what you should do.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of times your kids will be the ones to let you know there's something like, Mom, can we do this today? I mean, I would listen to that. Maybe it's not a yes, but maybe there's something that
Yeah.
you can say yes to around that. But it might just be a little indicator that there's something that you could do.
For sure.
All right.
All right. We hope that was helpful. That was this is like our favorite thing to talk about.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we could talk forever. We had to coach ourselves to not talk so much. So
yep, exactly.
Hope that was helpful for you. All right, let's move on to our loving this week's.
Okay.
Maren, what are you loving this week?
All right, I'm loving a movie. It actually came out last holiday season. It's called Love Hard. It's on Netflix. It is a pretty cheesy rom-com, actually, but it's just such a great movie to sit down, curl up with the blanket, and enjoy. Brainless, basically, but it's so much fun. You know, it's like you don't have to think about it at all. You can just like eat it up like candy.
So this is about, I'm trying to remember because I did watch this last year and I loved it. So if you're looking for a good holiday flick, this could be the, like comfort flick you wanted.
Yes. It just says it's an LA. Okay, I'll just read it quick. An LA girl, this is from imdb.com. An LA girl, unlucky in love, falls for an East Coast guy on a dating app and decides to surprise him for the holidays, only to discover that she's been catfished.
Yeah, it's about catfishing. Okay, yeah.
Yes. So it's very lighthearted and fun. And actually, I enjoyed it probably more this year than I did last year. I watched it again. And I watched it with some of my kids. It does say TVMA, but I would say it's probably more like PG-13, to be honest.
It's like a PG-13.
That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. There's no rated R stuff.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think so. There is probably some swearing. I would get. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. Angela, what are you loving this week?
I also have a movie.
Okay, great. Love it.
This is called Glass Onion, a Knives Out story.
Yay.
So this is basically Knives Out 2. If you saw Knives Out like 2 years ago, Maren, was it
it's been 3. It's been 3. It was 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you haven't seen the first Knives Out, you should definitely see that. This is the second Knives Out. We sat in the theater with the family. This is perfect if you have, I would say, teens or even tween and up, because it's a murder mystery, right? That's what it is. But it's done in this really fun, innovative, new way. It's also, so there's the only continuing character from the first Knives Out movie is the detective, Daniel Craig. He's the same. Otherwise, they have a whole new cast of characters.
Wow.
And they're all like people all kind of coming together, playing
kind of like the last one too.
Yeah, like these funny, these funny characters, these like unique characters. There's like Kate Hudson and
fun. Yeah.
Okay, I should have looked this up. The guy from Hamilton, the good singer.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Here, I'm gonna look it up. Oh, Janelle Monáe.
Oh yeah,
is in here. Leslie Odom Jr.
Leslie Odom Jr. Thank you. It's like I knew it started with an L.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, and what I liked about it, which I think could have been done poorly, but they did it right, was they talked about the pandemic. It's set in the pandemic.
That's great.
There's funny references to it that we can laugh about a little bit now, right? Like there's masks.
Yes, exactly.
And,
we can process through it. Yes, yes.
So I liked that. It was good to see that.
Okay, great.
So I think it's just a good time, and I heard it's coming to Netflix in a few weeks.
Very soon. Yeah, it was just out in theaters for a short time. So I'm glad you got to see it. We really wanted to, but it didn't work out. So I'm really looking forward to this.
All right. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to our 3 sponsors, Blossom and Root, Homeschool, and Night Zookeeper. Be sure to check out their links in our show notes.
This podcast is created and hosted by Angela Sizer and Maren Gorse. We are listener supported. To get extra content and the Back to School Summit free with your membership, go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. Subscribe to our newsletter and get our free top 100 inclusive book list at homeschoolunrefined.com/newsletter. You can find Maren on Instagram at unrefinedmaren and at Always Learning with Maren. Find Angela at unrefinedangela.